my goodness. And there it is. Wow, get the spin to go.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Greater Cleveland Open. We are here at Yorktown Lanes in Parma Heights, Ohio. My name is Mike Flanagan, bringing you more coverage here from the PWBA. This is technically our sixth stop of the season, third in a row, 3 weeks in a row, and we're happy to be bringing you the coverage here. Got a lot of things going on Bowl TV this week. Jason Thomas, Aaron Smith taking place at the college bowling event. So we got a bunch of channels here, or we're up live here on our main channel. This week, this has been a long time coming, everybody. But this week, I get to work with a man I've admired for a long time, and he's my teammate this week. I'd like to welcome in Emil Williams Jr., who'll be covering this event with me. Hello, Emil.
Michael, can you hear me?
I can, yeah, I can hear you good, bud. How are you?
Finally, Emil has come back to Bowl TV. Good people of Earth, how is everything going? I hope all is well with you. Mike, indeed, this is something we've talked about for, we see each other at bowl events all the time. We've never once worked together in this capacity, but we've seen each other in multiple places. And this week we get to spend a full weekend together watching the best women in the world do their thing. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. It's been a fun season so far. I know you've been watching the PWBA. This week we'll go over the oil pattern. We'll go over all the information that's happening right here live on Bowl TV. And throughout our practice session, we'll be on with you for an hour and a half. I want to welcome in our audience not only on bowltv.com, but also as we stream every week. This is the practice podcast, we call it, where folks can take a look and get a free preview of what's happening on bowltv.com on Facebook and YouTube. So we'd like to welcome in that audience as well.
Always fun to interact with our various communities, obviously the Bowl TV community, and then the PWBA Facebook page, as well as the Bowl TV YouTube channel. PWBA fans are everywhere, and we certainly have done the best job possible to interact with not only just Bowl TV, but establish and then help promote the tour into other aspects and audiences as well. So always a pleasure and to be here and to be with everyone again. It's a little bit of an odd situation, only because I don't think I've been nervous at a PWA event in a very long time. Maybe the first one I've ever done, but there's some slight nerves this week because it's just cool to be back. And I'm already seeing strikes, Mike. So we could be in for a very good week.
Absolutely.
Always good people in the chat. Everyone across the world letting us know when an item may be slightly off. So shout out to the PWBA Bowl TV chat. Everyone who has joined that group created by Chris Pulliam. CP, man, I see you. Thank you for that note, by the way. Quick hello to John watching on Facebook. Emily Eckhoff. Hey, Em, how are you? This is Emily's week, by the way, too. Multi-time ISC champion. So we talked about, Mike, the intercollegiate team championships, intercollegiate singles championships taking place in Spectrum Lanes, Wyoming, Michigan. Aaron Smith and Jason Thomas are there as well. And so we've got a lot of bowling going on Bowl TV. We'll have that for you throughout the week. So I feel like this is one of the best weeks, certainly, to be a part of Bowl TV as well. We are now live on Bowl TV. So everyone on Bowl TV missed it. So I'm just going to say it again. Finally, Emil has come back to Bowl TV. Michael, you all good over there?
Yeah, I'm building a couple graphics over here, just making sure everything's working fine. As every time we turn everything on in a new bowling center, just want to make sure it's all working well. On bowltv.com, we got 5 total channels for you here from this event. We got about 17 channels live right now on bowltv.com. So happy everybody's with us. If you missed the announcement, Emil and myself will be bringing you the coverage this week, as well as we've got our comrades working the ITC championships, and they've got a lot going on there as well. So I'm going to bring up our oil pattern here in just a moment as we take a look and see how the ladies attack this week's event. I've also got some notes from Nick Hoagland. I'll also bring some ball reps up as well. We'll full screen.
While we work to get you a quick look on the oil pattern, which we will talk about here in just 1 second, I'm simply just going to start out by saying thank you to the Bowl TV community. Got a lot of text messages, a lot of Facebook messages, a lot of tweets. Not only last week, because JT had dropped the news, which was fantastic. Did not expect that type of response. So, again, I got to say thank you very much to everyone involved in that situation. But just over the few months, it's been a minute, obviously, and but many of you have reached out just to check on, things and see how I'm doing. The funny thing is, the last time I was at this very event in 2019, I have 2 kids now. I had 0 kids at that point. So that just goes to show how quickly things have changed, obviously, not only in your lives, but certainly mine. That's just one update I can share with you as well. And obviously, what we'll be watching here from a bowling perspective, we'll get into. I've got a few names that, at some point we'll talk about, whether it's today and certainly this weekend, about players who really are starting to put themselves, to me, in that position of, we can kind of start talking about a player of the year ladder, if you will. And there's a few players who I think who have already started climbing said ladder. It's like the WWE. We got some ladder matches happening. There's some people already trying to climb the ladder and get to the belt. And it should be, obviously, this week is going to be good. The previous 2 weeks are going to be good. The kickoff classic was amazing. And the talent only continues to get stronger as we head into the first major of the season. And, of course, that is the USBC Queens next week in Reno, Nevada. While I have a moment, we've got some Bowl TV chatters already in the building. I mentioned CP. Chris, how you doing? Mark is here. Joseph, I appreciate you, my man. Thank you very much. Aaron Smith. Thanks, Aaron Smith. And great work, by the way, at Spectrum. Call the collegiate ITCs like you know how to do it, buddy. Walk out a few shots for me as well. I appreciate that. Same goes for you, JT. Hey, Jennifer. Hope all is well with you. Paula, hello to you. Rebecca's been winning some prizes too, so we might need her in the chat all the time. Lady Luck is on her side as well. Melissa, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be back and good to be back with you. Sorry, Mike, I'm talking a lot.
No, man.
It's been a minute.
You're good. No, it's great.
I got a lot to say.
I've seen everybody in there. Things are going well, and I actually have the oil pattern now. So let's go ahead.
Let's do it.
People love oil.
They do.
So So there is our oil pattern. Give you just a second to digest that right here, and then I'll give you some analysis on this this oil pattern. So the first thing you want to look at is you want to look at the pattern distance. And the distance of this pattern is 38 feet in length. So on the way down, the lane conditioner is applied to the brush of the lane machine all the way down to 30 feet. Now, last week we only saw it applied for about 7 feet, and then just the brush ran off the oil down the lane. So an extreme taper. This week, the pattern is applied to 30 feet, and then it buffs just whatever's left on that brush to 38 feet. So much further down the lane. And on this particular week, you'll notice they're using Tank B only. Tank B is ice oil. We saw fire and ice last week. We saw fire the week before. So quite a contrast here across the lane patterns. Now, you'll also notice that last week, a majority of the oil was applied on the way back. This week, most of the oil is applied on the way down. 26.65 milliliters of oil, quite a bit of volume. And on the way back, this might be the lowest amount I've ever seen applied other than 1.85 milliliters oil on the way back. And if you look at when that oil is applied, it is only one load of oil from 12 feet to 10 feet, just to give a little bit more oil there in the heads, and it's applied from the 14th board to the 14th board on each side of the lane. So 28.5 total milliliters in length. And when we look at the ratio down at the bottom portion of the graph, you want to look at the outside middle, the middle, the inside middle across, and you'll see that this is about the flattest pattern we've seen so far this year on the PWBA Tour. It's less than a 2-to-1 ratio, just barely, but a 2-to-1 ratio. Last week was about a 3-to-1 ratio, and we saw you could get scores. We saw a 300 in the semifinal match by Liz Johnson. She bowled 780 in the stepladder final. Unbelievable match. It's available on our YouTube channel now and also archived on bowltv.com if you haven't seen it. An unbelievable performance. 25th title just before her 47th birthday. She set out what she looked to do. But this week we're seeing that it's less than a 2-to-1 ratio. Now, I've got some inside scoop from Nick Hoagland, who designed this pattern. And I'm going to read from my screen right here. Pattern is the opposite of last week. All oil on the forward and almost no oil on the way back. Using all ice and high volume at 28.5 mils. A little bit of information about the bowling center from Nick. Yorktown Lanes is probably the best carrying center on tour all year. Pins are like popcorn normally. Old Amble Lane surface from 1993, so almost a 30-year-old surface here. Ball hooks off the gutter very well, and shorter patterns should have players favoring the outside part of the lane. Check out the scoring pace from 2019. It was very, very high, which, Emil, I know you're familiar with that. But the important thing here is 3 different weeks, 3 volumes, 3 different oil combos, and 3 different distances. 42 feet, 46 feet, now 38 feet in length. Hashtag variety, he says. So but the last comment he had for me was that this 1.94 ratio, so this pattern is flatter than the first 2 weeks and only 1 foot of drop brush, more oil towards the end of the pattern. And good luck. And I know he was traveling today, so safe travels to Nick Hoagland. Thanks for that little tidbit. But that's a complete breakdown of this oil pattern. Emil, your thoughts regarding the oil pattern here this week?
Well, one, it's Nick Hoagland. So no matter what we say, and obviously great breakdown, first of all, by you, but no matter what happens, even if we look at it and say, okay, we see a lot of individual striking, we know at some point there's going to be some slight level of difficulty no matter what's going to happen, no matter where it is. So we should always anticipate that. Having said that, I completely agree, obviously, with Nick regarding the scoring pace at Yorktown. I think in the first couple of games in 2019, including both the national event and we also had a regional event that weekend as well, there were a few 300s kind of early on in blocks. So I think that is something to take a look at and keep an eye out for as well. And Yorktown, honestly, is just one of the dopest centers I've been to. Everyone here, family ran. They do a fantastic job as well. So, Mike, after coming off a stepladder final in which we saw what Liz Johnson did, it's only right that we kind of continue that momentum. So if we're going to see some strikes today or this week, why not see them immediately coming off exactly what Liz did last week? And 780 in a step ladder, man. Sometimes you see that and the player doesn't win in certain circumstances, but obviously wasn't the case last week. Liz Johnson did her thing, and she is right in the thick of it. Certainly still early in the season as we look ahead to POY honors.
Yep, and the practice sessions work just like they have. This is your first time joining us this year. They bowl for 12 minutes. They take a 2-minute break. They bowl for 12 minutes. They take a 2-minute break, and they move across the house. So we're just kind of leaving it right here. We're on PWBA 4 if you're watching on bowltv.com. That's the pair that we have up on our screen here for the main. And a couple other things, Emil. I've been out here the last couple weeks, 65 entries in the first 2 events.
Yep.
How many entries do we have for this one?
76.
76. So we've got a few more ladies participating. No surprise as we move further east.
Yeah, we're starting to see a few players. I'll just right off the bat, Jenna Trapelski is bowling this week. She's from New York area. I've seen a couple of players from the East Coast on the roster as well. So, drivable certainly, and a good opportunity. For some, this will be their first event. So I think, they didn't know the pattern before they shoot up or laced up and sent their entry in. But, I think if you're going to start, certainly this would be a good week to start. You may see your ball do some things that you certainly like it to do. There's going to be a lot of opportunity to get to the pocket. Obviously, carry is always a concern no matter where you are, but there could be some very good situations from a carry perspective throughout this week. In front of us now, Deandra Asbeatty, Heather DeRico. Speaking of first-timers this season, Heather back out on tour. Good to see Heather. She's been a very busy individual, obviously, with bowl fits, working with Jason Sterner, doing some great work. Jason also doing some fantastic work, obviously, at the US Open and the Masters. So good to see Heather out. Kayla Starr, it took me until I talked with Deandra. I said, man, I know Kayla Starr. I know that name. I just don't know exactly where I know her from. And I talked to Dee, and she said, well, I get a chance to cross with Kayla Starr today. Kayla Starr bowls with EYT. And Kayla bowls with the Elite Youth Tour, which is the tour ran by Deandra Asbeatty. So, appreciate that. A couple other thank yous. And by the way, who is Seraphim, appreciate that. I got a chance to quick look at the chat and get that mic situated. Let me know. Yeah, just let me know. It's every time I talk with a mask on, I had to get readjusted. So I appreciate that early on. John Heath, appreciate you. Chameleon Sportswear. Hi, Sandy. Just as I say that. Jeannie. Let's see. Who else? John. Tom, absolutely, Tom. Speaking of first-timers on the tour this season, Haley Richard is back. Talked to Jordan and Haley for a little bit earlier today. I really appreciate all the love so far in the chat. Maury, actually, you know what? Maury was someone I meant to text or tweet at, so I forgot to let you know, Maury. There's Lizzie J saying hello. Maury has been asking me for a while if I was going to be back, and well, today's that day, Maury. Thank you very much. Barbara Jean is in the building. Hey, Michelle, how are you? All right, so I think I'm just scrolling up and looking. Hi, Melissa. Aaron was in the chat briefly, but Aaron is also working and handling business at the ITC. So Mike and I will make sure we keep abreast of the questions. Mike, very good question, by the way. Brent Prentice, by the way, I meant to text you. Obviously, fantastic job as always. And I'll see you soon, Brent. Mike, if you don't mind, from the protocol perspective, for those like me who haven't been out on tour yet, Can we briefly just explain those again? And I think as things change in various states, obviously across the country, people may have that continued question on if anything will change here. So, what are the protocols thus far on the PWBA Tour in 2020?
Yeah, so there's no spectators allowed in the building. Everyone that is here has the COVID test prior to coming to the event, whether they tested last week at the event for this week or coming in. So I know, Emil, you had to test as well to be able to come in. Better safe than sorry is kind of how things are out here on the PWBA Tour. They want to make sure that the ladies are protected and everyone involved are taking the best protocols as possible. And also state to state, the laws are a little bit different. Some are stricter, some are not. So out here on the PWBA Tour, everything is taken very serious. Tennille Milligan, our Director of Operations and Tournament Director, all the way up to Flag Bowl at the USBC, just taking a very safe, precautious approach at being able to have the tour back this year. The last thing we want would be to have some sort of outbreak that you've seen in other professional sports with certain teams. Last year, several NFL games had to be delayed or not played at all. So we're just looking to create the best environment possible and play things as safe as possible, as we are still not out of this COVID-19 pandemic as of yet. But things are looking up in certain regards, and I'm sure as soon as it's safe to do so, the masks will come off. I know I'm looking forward to getting the mask off as much as anybody else, having to commentate and talk throughout the entire event and be in the building the entire time. It was 16 days in Reno for the Masters and the U.S. Open. I had to have a mask on the entire time. But you know what? I'm used to it, and I'd rather keep my life than complain about having a mask on. And that's just my personal perspective on it. And I know that people smarter than me are the ones that are making these decisions, and I trust the decisions that they're making.
Well said there. So that's for those curious and wanting a slight update or so. I think it goes without saying that everyone here would love to have fans, certainly. So, and I think every day there's a step toward that situation.
Absolutely.
And live from the PWBA Greater Cleveland Open practice session. And for the first time in quite a long time, Emil Williams Jr. and Mike Flanagan. But not the first time for Mike Flanagan.
No, but I will say, getting on the plane for this one, and I love my man JT, and we have like our little bets on air, and we talk about who we like and all those sorts of things. And of course, Aaron Smith, getting me with the movie references and having a great time working with Aaron, of course. But I got to say, we've never worked together, Emil, and it's about what's in front of us, not us goofball commentator guys. But we both share a passion for bowling. You also went to Lindenwood University. I got to meet you when I was in St. Louis. That's where I'm born and raised. You're being from Chicago. So we got the Midwest guys here this week covering PWBA. And I got to tell everybody here as well, they love Emil out here. I mean, I watched 3 or 4 people come up and say, Emil, I forgot your gift. Hey, Emil, I forgot your gift. Hey, Emil, how you doing? Oh, give me a hug, Emil. Like, what am I, chopped liver out here?
Well, I'm glad you said that, Mike, because let me just be the first to tell you how great of a job you have done thus far on the tour. Having said that, that is just simply, Mike, and I believe you know this as someone who has been in this industry and covered events as well. The rapport and the relationship that you develop essentially when you spend really 13 to 14 weeks with the same people each and every week, you start to talk about things outside of bowling. There may be some pre-existing relationships, and then there's some that you create over the years. And it was good to see, and still is obviously good to see everyone. To be honest, I didn't even know how to greet people. I didn't know if I should hug them. Are we doing fist pumps? I wanted to make sure I was, in the proper frame of mind from the safety perspective. But it's really nice to see, not only see the players. It's fun to see them, obviously, from the vantage point of watching them live stream, of course. But it's another thing, certainly, to see them in person, and I certainly feel that, obviously, also from the fan perspective as well. And again, we look forward to that day where we'll have that interaction with everyone here. And Mike, as I continue to watch what's happening on the lanes, I've seen a couple of things. I've seen some gutters. I've seen some balls hooked very early, especially on the right side of the lane, and go Brooklyn. And we've seen several strikes. So I think the first 20 feet, obviously the heads are going to play a very significant role in the scoring pace. How those hold up throughout a 6-game block might be the difference in what we see throughout.
Yeah, I'm enjoying watching Gigi bowl, because Gigi last week qualified for her first championship round appearance. I'm watching her throw this green, I believe it's a new high road ball, and she's playing further right than I've seen her play so far this year on tour this year. And I'm really liking the shape and the look that she's got. The last shot I saw her throw on the left lane, she left a 10-pin but had a messenger come flying across and take it out. So remember, the further the players are to the right, and typically lower rev rates on the female side of things, it's just the way that it is, they can't create as much power and as much, there's another messenger we just saw from Sandra. You're going to see playing the outside part of the lane with that increased angle into the pocket, pins bouncing everywhere, and as Nick Hoagland told us, some of the best pin carry we will see all season on the PWBA Tour. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see a lot of high scores this week, a lot of players playing extreme outside part of the lane, and it's going to be all about dialing in that ball reaction with the proper equipment. I think we're going to see a lot of the ladies stay right on top of the same line and ball down. And I'm really interested in seeing what Shannon Polhowski does this week to build off of what she did last week. She made her championship round appearance last year. Not a lot of lefties out there. And she's also starting to get real comfortable with urethane from out. So I'm interested to see what she does. I talk about her every week because it is a story. The left side of the lane, lefties versus righties. People love to talk about it. But Shannon Polhowski finally makes a championship round appearance this year. And we're looking to see if she's going to continue to do so.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mike. And, obviously Shannon is someone who has had success, a lot of success on the PWBA Tour. And everyone points to certainly the number in the win column. And sometimes you can't always point to that. And when you're out here every week and doing what she does, and to be honest, I really thought she would make the show last week for a number of reasons. And, we can talk about what's on the lane. But coming off a national championship as an assistant coach with Nebraska, and obviously a place that she attended as a player, I thought that she would certainly be – it kind of had that little extra motivation to make the show and bowl well in the place that, obviously she's called home for a very long time. You mentioned Gigi earlier, and Mike, just the steady and continued. I won't even say steady now. I think the climb is fierce at this point for Gigi. Making the show, winning a couple of regional titles, obviously, in the last few years, and now making her first national show, getting that under her belt, and shot 300 last week as well, did Gigi. So, just a big time jump for Gigi. I had a chance to catch up with her just a few minutes prior to practice beginning, and she said, the difference so far for her, to equate it best would be, there's not a lot of noise for Gigi right now when she's bowling, meaning that we're not talking about crowd noise, we're not talking about because there's no fans, there's no noise. We're just simply talking about everything that may be running through one's head when you're a rookie and trying to figure out lane conditions week to week, trying to make sure that, your reservations are proper everywhere you go, all of those things. And now it's just quiet for Gigi. She's a bit more even keel and able to attack the lanes in that way. And I think, obviously, that is certainly shown in her performance thus far this week or this season.
Yeah, she's definitely super talented. And, the other thing that I like about Gigi is she's doing things in bowling now. She's getting some outside exposure. Mm-hmm. She was on Ellen's Game of Games.
Yep.
She was interviewed by Robin Roberts and went bowling with Robin Roberts.
Yep. On Good Morning America.
Yeah, so those are the sorts of things we need in bowling. We get a lot of those armchair quarterbacks or Monday morning quarterbacks, so to speak, saying what should be done in bowling. Let's take a look at what is being done in bowling. And this young lady is a spokesperson for bowling, and it was so cool to see her bust through and make a show last week. And she had some amazing words for future athletes. CDB will be joining you on the call at the end of this event in our championship round, which will be on Saturday. She asked the question, what is some advice you'd like to give someone out there? And it's incredible. You got to go back and watch it. So it looks like we got some bowling getting ready to start back up again here. There's Birgit.
Brief 2-minute break. Congratulations to Brigitte as well. Of course, married. And we've got that 76 number, and that's being talked about in the chat. I'm trying to remember in my time. I don't recall what the highest entry number that I've seen in my time on the PWBA tour, but I think 76 would be right up there. I think we've had a couple of 80s. I think. Quickly back at it. I guess this part is a bit new for me in regards to just the practice breaks and the scheduling part, but in a way, from when you're sitting in the chair, I also think it's very good because you get a chance to see I get a chance to see, I should say, varying pairs or crosses continue to roll through on that basis. Barry, appreciate you. Hope all is well. Someone, I think it was Ray. That is indeed right, Ray. Ray, that is indeed correct, my friend. The last time I was here in Cleveland, I had 0 children. We had one on the way, but we had 0 children at that time. Now we have 2. And so obviously with a whole year, we didn't get a chance to talk to you via COVID, of course. Other blessings come up to you, and man, it's been great. I've got 2 boys, and they're both great. Both are doing great. In fact, Enzo is my youngest. He is now 5 months today. And my oldest, which most of you know. And I'm sure there's plenty of new subscribers to Bowl TV who have never heard of me in their lifetime. And so I'm going to do my best job because there are people that I know for a fact have no idea who I am. And but I'm going to make you remember me by the time this weekend is over. And so I'm happy to be here. We take a look at, obviously, we talked about Birgit, watching her lanes. We'll take a look at PWBA 2 in just a second here. 21-22 along with 19 and 20. And on those pairs, for example, Taylor Boltice, Lindsey Boomershine, Missy Parkin, and there they are. Oh yeah, Ray, absolutely. You've been with us for a very long time. That's a really good shot there from Lindsey Boomershine. mentioned Voltice, Parkin, Missy Parkin obviously has started this season well. I know, Mike, you mentioned at some point, I don't remember which event, but just what Missy and Drew and all the things that they've been involved in, from a lot of new bowling centers, the varying pro shops that they have. So, in many cases, it's just not what's happening on the lanes and in the season. It's what's happening off the lanes as well. Thank you very much, Barbara. Appreciate that. Saw a lot of love for we talked about the East Coast and being closer to the East Coast. We are here in Cleveland, Ohio. By the way, Yorktown Lanes is the center. I know someone asked that earlier. Kara Mangiola, who has bowled, I think, a few events already this season, and she had bowled a couple in 2019 and a few regionals as well, and you could really see the talent level there. And it's one of the things where you start to see players, and okay, you see them with another event, and all of a sudden, they just keep building. They're building on their own experience levels. And that understanding, the learning curve is most of the time, I think, fairly severe. Would you agree with that, Mike? When you come out on tour, and we've got a lot of great rookies. This might be the best rookie class I've seen so far in my time on the PWBA tour. And that includes 2015, when almost everyone was a rookie by default.
Yeah, didn't Stephanie Johnson take that one home?
She did. They're really good rookies, obviously. But this crop here, this class here is very significant. And it's been great just to kind of watch them navigate what's happening week to week. And this is only, of course, overall the 6th event technically, but the 3rd event of the second swing, if you will. And another week to learn, another week for us to learn as well. Because we learn also up here too. When you talk to a Nick Hoagland and get an understanding of what he's talking about, what the lane pattern should provide, how the players attack it, and then really, Mike, also watching the adjustments. The first block to the second block can be night and day, especially in qualifying. And seeing how the players react and what they do and how everything works is always fun to watch.
Yeah, move down to PWBA 1, Emil. Take a look at some other players here. I see Andy Ramirez, Dasha Kovalova, who is leading the points currently.
That was one player, of course, who I had planned to discuss at some point, but I watched Dasha. She bowled an Elite Youth Tour event, Chicagoland area. Got where we were. It might have been striking spare, 2 in Lockport. But it was a doubles event. It was the first youth adult tournament in EYT history. She bowled with Jillian Martin. And she made the drive. Jillian asked her to bowl. And they had created a bond, which was formed at the kickoff classic.
Was it a Julia bond?
It very well could have been.
Okay, I was just curious.
Julia Bond. No, but they created, I like how you did that. They created a bond. So Dasha and Jillian asked Dasha to bowl. They came up, or Dasha came up. They won the tournament in the U18 division, or U20 division, excuse me. And but Dasha looked ready then. And it was just after the kickoff classic, and she has carried that into this second swing here. And that is not surprising by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, currently in the points, Dasha Kovalova, 40,875 points. Liz Johnson, second in points at 38,850. Shannon O'Keefe at 37,350. Julia Bond, 4th overall in points at 34,650. And Aaron McCarthy, rounding out your top 5 at 33,950 points. So far, 2 players have made it to 3 championship round appearances, Dasha Kovalova and Aaron McCarthy. Liz Johnson, Missy Parkin, and Kelly Kulick, all with 2 championship round appearances. And leading the tour in average right now is Kelly Kulick at 220.16, followed by Liz Johnson at 217.93. Third, Dasha Kovalova at 217.52. And 2 players at 216, Shannon O'Keefe and Aaron McCarthy. Liz Johnson's already made $27,900 on this tour already this year with that 300 game last week. $10,000 bonus courtesy of Go Bowling.
Shout out to Go Bowling. That's mighty generous, certainly. And you know what, Mike? Every time there's a 300 nearby on the PWBA tour that's potentially televised, or in this case, obviously Bowl TV related, I either miss it or the player comes up short. Those instances, obviously, last week. Again, congrats to Liz. 2019, Dasha Kovalova, 300, the Louisville Open. My son was 5 days old. Still, I was at home. Missed that one. But Liz Colkin gave us a thrill, but shot 299 in Tucson and earlier in 2019. So I'm still waiting for my first televised 300 from Steph. Fun.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people call me the Black Cloud out here, but I would just want to say I was in the building filming the 300 that brought home 10K. I got 10,000 under my belt right now as a broadcaster on Liz Johnson's 300 game.
I have seen and paying attention a little bit, obviously, in and out through the first few weeks, and that you I don't know if you've earned that moniker, but it's been placed on you for sure.
Yeah, they even built graphics. But I think it's officially done with now because the graphics are gone, so. I know we have a lot of folks watching on Facebook and on YouTube, our free practice podcast here. But if you want to watch actual competition here this week, there's our Greater Cleveland Open Bowl TV schedule. Official practice session, of course, right now. Looks like our dates are off on this graphic I got here. But that's okay, because we're gonna fix that by talking through it with no problem whatsoever. Today's actually May the 6th, everybody. So I need you to just pretend like April 29th is May the 6th. Everything else is perfect. And then May 7th, Friday, May 7th, that's tomorrow. And then Saturday, May the 8th. So we'll get that corrected. However, we will be back tomorrow morning with our opening round of qualifying at 11 a.m. And then back again at 6 o'clock for 6 more games of qualifying. And then we're going to cut it down to the top 32. And that's the format out here on tour. Then we're going to come back with 32 in the morning at 11 a.m., all times Eastern. Back at 3:30 p.m. for the top 12. And then we'll be back at 7 o'clock for our stepladder finals.
We do start at 10 a.m., Kayla. 10 a.m. local time. So in this case, 10 a.m. Eastern. That's definitely a confirmation. Although I did have to check because obviously I haven't been out. So, you know, for the first time in a long time, things are new to me on tour. It's a very different feeling, but kind of a cool feeling too. Like I'm here and I'm doing my thing. For the folks in regards to the video, notice that, taking a look at it, and certainly going to try to have that, whatever it may be, handled by the time qualifying begins tomorrow morning. Chris mentioned Danielle Niddle. That is her indeed. And she also is indeed a meteorologist. So she's a fun follow also on Twitter. And just like that,
Hold up on your
practice, we will stop on that. But we won't stop here on Bowl TV. We'll keep the party going as we welcome in my man.
My man.
I haven't seen this man in a long time.
Oh, man, it's been way too long, too long.
Motive rep, of course, Nathan Bohr. And Nathan, first, how you doing? Let's just start there. How are you?
Oh, doing great. Really, really good. This is my favorite time of year. You know that. You know that. I like to travel. I like the travel. I like the competition. I like my wife. So all of those things.
You love your wife.
I like my wife. All of those things. All of those things get to come together for about 4 months out of the year, and I love it. I wouldn't do anything else. And now I get to see you. So
today is a good day. Ice Cube would be proud. Let's talk about the lane pattern.
Yeah.
And we Mike and I mentioned a little bit. He ran down a few of the specifics, of course, distance, length, the type of oil used, and where it's being ran. So, what have you seen through these first couple of practice squads, if you will, from some of your players and across the board at this point?
Sure. Well, first of all, looking at the oil pattern, looking at the applied oil, all that kind of stuff. It's the most oil we bowled on so far this year, and I'm pretty sure that includes the events in Dallas. But definitely, out of the first 3 weeks, it's the most oil they bowled on, and it's ice. So it's the slickest of the oils that they've been using. So it presents a different challenge than last week for sure. Last week was a bad surface with a whole bunch of fire. And long and not very much of it. So the balls that we use may be the same, but they're going to have different surface prep. That's for sure.
Any ideas without giving too much away, obviously, but just from a general perspective, what level of surface do you think you'll foresee, bringing out the Abalon pads and handling business there?
Yeah, sure. Well, for all of the ball reps, the other companies that may be coming on and watching this at the end, or the players, I'm going to say I'm using 180 grit on all of the bowling balls. But no, I'm not.
I was about to say, bro.
No. We're 800 to 1,000. I think I took some shine off of 1,500, but like I said, this is a different event because more oil. It's still a bed surface, still an old synthetic original Ambalane surface, I believe, and so they hook in the front, and then they can kind of squirrely down lane if you're able to do the right thing to the front. So put a bunch of oil by PWBA standards on a bad surface, and don't run it very far down the lane. You've really got to control a shorter part of the lane. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get something to.
You must wear your face mask at all times. Over your nose.
I apologize.
No, it's okay. Just pause for a minute.
Yeah, sorry about that. All right. It's just about getting the ball to read in the right part of the lane so that we can see the shape of the pattern show through, because most of the shape is between 5 and 10, maybe 5 and 12. So if we've got something that goes too long, it misses that spot. So we got to make sure we got something that sees it early enough that it will read it but not get off of it.
Let me ask you, how important is it this particular pattern? Because again, I know you've seen a fair share of strikes so far.
Yeah.
But how important is it not to be fooled, especially probably early on the pattern as well, and kind of anticipate what you need to anticipate to make sure you can continue to string them if that's what's happening?
Sure. Well, practice is normally is notorious for kind of faking you out one way or the other. So you got to kind of learn how to decipher what you're seeing based on the field, based on the format, number of games, all that kind of stuff, number of people on the pair, and kind of see how you feel like they're going to play. So, and then you add on to that there aren't any spare balls going down lane today, or there's very few. As I see Aaron throw a spare shot. So you kind of got to temper your expectations. You got to see what's on the lane, and then really be open to what might happen later on when you're crossing pairs. You're following people one game and not the next game, and so. Yeah, it like I said, it all comes back to controlling the right part of the lane. If we control the right part of the lane in the front, that's the lane. That's the part of the lane that's going to change the least. If we can control that part, we can make moves off of that, and hopefully be able to strike across the house.
Last question for you.
Keep them coming.
Okay, all right. What from an equipment perspective? Just again, what are your players
Sure.
at this point? What has been looked pretty well, maybe even great for that matter, and obviously keeping in mind we know it's practice. We know some things are going to be different.
Yeah. Slow response. Slow response has what it brings with it is the ability to control the pocket, control the head pin, control your misses, and so that's really worked well so far for us. It's maybe a forged flare or a ghost if they want to hook in the front. Or a venom shock, just stuff that isn't too angular, stuff that doesn't have super high RGs, so that we can get a good read and see the ball make the motion that we want to see it move, want to see it make.
Perfect. Nate, I appreciate you.
Yeah,
that's funny. I did that on purpose, by the way. I don't know if you.
Well, yeah. You've got to.
I had to do it
to miss it board.
I had to do it, and I know your mom and I are tight. I'm only getting one Nate just because I haven't seen you in a long time.
All right.
But Nathan, I appreciate you, my guy.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
You're welcome. That is Nathan Bohr, ladies and gentlemen, with Team Motive here each and every week on the PWBA Tour. We thank him for his willingness to obviously discuss what he's seeing on the lanes from his point of view, player's point of view as well. And I think something to keep in mind for what he talked about is the use of surface. And we all know at this point, and if you're new to the game, we can get into that too, but surface, a big part, very important part of bowling, and certainly on tour, and that is how players can turn one bowling ball into three bowling balls by the use of surface. And from what Nathan just talked about, surface is going to be important. You mentioned 800 to 1,000 in many cases. So I talked about it a little bit earlier. If you can control the first 20 feet, and he kind of confirmed that, because the fresh is giving you the sense and the ability that striking is going to be at a premium. So how do you continue to strike as the blocks can move on? That's going to be the question, certainly, and one of the answers we'll find out. Joe, that is correct, and that is who you are watching right now. Actually, that's Abby Ragsdale. There's Amanda Vermillier. And how about Amanda? Amanda, if you don't know Amanda's story, she has been through various surgeries, brain surgeries, a Nebraska legend, Junior Team USA, and obviously went through personal struggles in regards to the surgeries, battled her way back, and is really having a very good kind of kick off to this second swing. So it's just very proud to see her bowling at this level. I'm very happy for her and her family in that regard. There's Erin McCarthy. Of course, we know Erin, and we've talked about her in that sense. She's been in the limelight so far this year as well. Certainly on the lanes and obviously off, doing a great job as a frontline worker, as a nurse when she is not on the lanes as well. All of the stories that these players possess each and every week, always fun to bring you those and the updates, of course, as well. Brianna Clemmer, since she was brought up in the chat, I talked about the rookie class, and she's certainly one of the top players in this very rookie class that we have mentioned. We've seen her, we've seen Taylor Bailey, we've seen Abby Ragsdale. I know there's several that I haven't mentioned, of course, and that's just because they're leaving me at the moment from a name perspective. But Brianna Clemmer is going to be a a very good player. She has the ability and the chance certainly to be a great professional. She's already very good in my opinion. She's got a chance to be great. Speaking of Brianna Clemens.
Yeah, hey, Emil, I've been walking around talking to the ball reps. Chuck Gardner is going to join us sometime before the end of this practice session as well. I talked to Matt McNeil, and Matt McNeil said, you know, there's a good look out, but if you get out to like 2, 3, 4, which is pretty extreme, the ball wants to hook really early. You need it to read, because if you start to move left when you're that far out and you throw it out, it's very easy to throw it past the break point. His words were, "This is not a house shot. This is not like a house shot. Do not expect, just because there's a shot out, that they're easy, or that you've got this easy attack from outside. Sure, it helps you with your angles, but they are very, very tricky. You can see washouts, 2, 4, 8, 10s, 2-pin combinations very easily if you get it going too far left or right. See a shot there by Erin McCarthy. She's more in the track area. You look at Diana out to the right. So a couple different angles of attack, pretty consistent with what we've seen so far this year on the PWBA Tour. Also, Emil, I don't know if we've talked about this or not yet, but 20 titles up for grabs this year on tour.
The most since certainly the relaunch of the tour as well.
And let's see if I can remember from memory all of our champions already this year. Looks like we had, well, before I get to that, Chuck Gardner's going to join us.
Okay.
Hey, brother.
Well, that works.
Hey, guys.
Chuck, my man, how are you?
I'm awesome, man. Hope you are.
I am. Let me just tell the good folks in the chat that Chuck came up to me, gave me a hug, and said it was fantastic to see you. And I thank Chuck for that, because he probably really did miss, but he's just that kind of guy. And I think everyone knows that about you at this point, Chuck. And if they don't, I'm here to tell them that you're a fantastic dude.
But I really did miss you.
I appreciate that. I missed you too. Chuck, this lane pattern, we were just talking about it. It can give you the sense that, obviously there's strikes, but it's not easy. How do you keep that in the mind of the players as you look to make moves and adjustments to keep them on the top of their game as the blocks move on?
Now, that's a really great point, because there are going to be some pairs that are really scoreable, and you have to keep in mind that this is a pretty flat pattern. It's a lot of volume, but it's only 38 feet, so keeping your angles straighter is going to be important. Using balls that are rollier and less violent. I would say probably 60 to 70% of the girls, maybe even more, will be throwing symmetrical balls, because the ASIMs are going to be so quick when they see it. But the girls that like to flip it a little bit to the right, like Birgit and a few other people like that, they're going to probably throw ASIMs because they want to make sure it catches. So I think their mindset has to be that shot making is still going to be at a premium, and make sure you take advantage of those really good pairs, because there are going to be some good scores. And but I don't think it's going to be across the house, because it's going to be very much influenced by how the players play them.
If you could give that advice or some advice, and obviously not only to your players but the rest of the field, I mean, how would you attack the lanes to make sure that everyone has success throughout a block?
Well, I personally believe in big symmetrical bowling balls and playing in the 7-8 to 4-5 zone and camp out there. And when the ball won't go through the pins anymore, just ball down a little bit. And don't get crazy chasing it into 15, 16 through the arrows, because I think that you're going to have designs are going to be your best friend if you do that. I think it's really important to use the angles and keep the angle straighter through the front, and use the angle that'll catch it every single time, so you have complete control of the pocket. And even if it doesn't go through the pins every time, and you leave a 4-pin and a flat 10 back to back, make your spares and let's go on.
talk to me just briefly, and I'll let you go after this one. Obviously, I haven't been out, but I've been keeping an eye on things. But if you can talk to your players, some of the successes, and some of the things that they've gone through these first couple of weeks, and even through the Kickoff Classic, but what are some of the things that have been great and that you've seen from your staff this season so far?
Well, I mean, I think our staff is a very nice mixture of experienced players and really, really young ones. We have Brianna Klimmer and Taylor Bailey. They're both bowling for Rookie of the Year. So, I think, we've already won twice this year with our team. Dasha's got to win. Shannon's got to win. I really miss – we're going to miss having Shannon here this week because obviously if there's bread and butter out there to be buttered, this is her bread and butter for sure.
I agree, yeah.
Not that she really needs bread and butter, but she's going to be with her girls. But I'm really pleased that the veterans of the staff are really doing a nice job helping with the young girls, and that the veterans are bowling really well. I mean, Liz Culkin's bowling really well. Missy's bowling well. And the young girls, Brianna's made both cuts, and the both events she's bowled, I think in the top 10 finishes both weeks too. So she's bowling really well. Taylor made her first cut this past week. So I'm really pleased. They're just a bunch of nice girls that are eager to learn. And, Eric's done a really good job with, out here helping me. He's got a great eye. And I just think that they're going to continue to grow and get better. And we have these group chats and stuff. It's really cute to watch them talk back and forth to each other. And they're just a good group of girls. But I will tell you that Storm and Motive and the other brands have great groups of girls too. And there's just a bunch of talent out here on this tour. And winning out here should not be taken for granted because these girls can flat bowl.
It definitely looks serious, Chuck, and we've been out here for obviously a long time. You've been out here way longer than me overall, and where would you rank? And I'll get you out of with this. Just right now, the times you've been out on the PWBA tour, since 2015, and if you want to take it back further, you can. The talent level overall in comparison to previous years.
I think it's the best it's ever been, without a doubt. I think it's the best it's ever been. We have some of the young girls that have shown so much promise over the last few years. Dasha and Daria and Verity and Diana, they're all starting to become real great players. And, even having Liz win her 25th title last week was so cool. I think it's harder to win now than it's ever been. And because in all reality, I truly believe there's 25 girls this week that could win this tournament. I really think there's 25 girls that are certainly capable of winning this tournament. And then the rest of them are learning and they're trying to get better, and it'll be their turn soon. But there's a lot of talent out here.
Chuck, I appreciate the time. I'll let you get back to it. Thank you so much, and good luck this week.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
That is Chuck Gardner, Team Brunswick in the building, talking to us a little bit about obviously what he's seeing from his players, staff, and everything that has happened thus far. And you heard it. Mike, you may have heard that, and I'll get you back on in just a second as we, I believe we moved on down to PWBA 1, I believe. Well, there's one pair that is not bowling currently. There we go. There's Daria. All right, let's bring Mike in. And Mike, from I asked Chuck, I don't know if you heard the question, but I asked him about his staff and, just kind of catch me up to speed, if you will, on, what he's been proud of the most about his staff. And then he also talked about, obviously, every staff and the talent level. And I asked him, where does this talent level rank overall right now this season in comparison to previous years? And he said it's the best he's ever seen. Would you agree?
Well, couple things to think about here. First of all, yes, okay, I see where he's coming from. But this is the first season that 7 brands of Brunswick has been seen on the PWBA tour. So, yes, he's right. I haven't ran the numbers to see how many players they have now compared to before, but when you add Shannon O'Keefe, just comes to mind,
Sure.
who used to be with Chuck before with DVA, right? So they've got that history. You add a southpaw in Shannon Plahowski, and then you've got a plethora of other players as well. Clara Guerrero now, Sandra Gongora. You picked up some players here. So yes, it is the strongest. But one thing I've noticed from Chuck over the last few weeks, and Eric Kraus when he's been out as well, and Valerie's husband John, is, and Daria is taking herself to the next level. Looks like we're having a little stream issue here, so I'm gonna head back over here. We will get that worked out. But I do see a little more energy from the Brunswick brands with the newfound expanded team. And I see a lot of teamwork and a lot of camaraderie. You know, you got Nathan Bohr out here, who we talked to earlier. He's got like 3 or 4 players in the field every week. And it was a couple weeks ago in Minnesota, late in the tournament, he had Maria and Aaron were first and second, which was cool for him. But he's got a smaller staff to manage. And he communicates with them more often because it's a less amount of students to the teacher, right? Just like in school. But I have seen that the Brunswick team has got a little more passion, a little more fire, a little more communication amongst each other as well. And then, of course, you know, you've got the Storm team as well now with 900 global players being able to throw Storm and Rotogrip now, everything going under one roof in Utah. So when it comes to the bowling ball brands, which are the sports teams kind of in our sport, there's a lot of good things happening with all of them right now.
Absolutely. And let me make sure I clarify. Referring to the talent level of the tour as a whole in comparison to the talent level as a whole in previous seasons, not specific to staff. I did ask him specifically about his staff because I just wanted to know what he was proud of and what they've done to this point. And then I asked him separately if he could rank, so to speak, this talent level overall across the board versus previous years, just to make sure that make that clarification.
Yeah, well, you've got everything. You got legends, right? You got legends making telecasts too. Mm-hmm. You've got, now that the tour's been around for a while and ladies have been able to make the decision to come out here and bowl it. I believe, what is this, year 6? Is that right? I believe Liz Johnson was the player of the year the first 3 years. Shannon O'Keefe was player of the year for 2 years. There's been no other players of the year, so this is year number 6, if my math is right.
That is correct.
So you've seen now ladies being able to have the opportunity to come out here and bowl. So now you get to see several youth movements. You know, you say rookie of the year was Stephanie Johnson, right? Year number 1, because there were so many eligible people. Then you saw collegiate seniors graduate, come out, try the tour. The ones that could compete cash on a regular basis have stayed. Some have gone on to take on full-time careers, bowl a stop when it's near them. Well, we've seen that happen now for 4 years. Plus, we had a skip year in there with COVID where we missed a year. So yeah, absolutely. I believe it's the strongest talent pool that we've seen since the relaunch. So I would agree with Chuck, but I also I love these manufacturer teams out here because the manufacturers support this tour in a big way, not only from a sponsorship standpoint, but from a employee standpoint. You know, they don't have to send 2-3 reps, you know, and now granted Motive has a smaller team, so Nathan's out here handling things right now, but these other teams, you know, they're sending 3 people a week, 2 people a week out here to support this tour. This is a big deal back at the home offices of all these ball companies.
Could have said that better as we get to let's see. Mike, where are we going?
Yeah, I'm trying to get us another pair here. I've got another laptop that I'm gonna bring up for tomorrow, so that we'll have a few different options here that we can do. And I think I'm also going to very creatively set up a way that we can bring in a few other things here as well. I always say that during the practice sessions when we just start getting things rolling. So this is a great opportunity that if you're watching on Facebook or you're watching on YouTube, head over to bowltv.com, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We'd love to grow our subscription rate, especially when Emil and I are out here, because when the cat's away, the mice might play. So you do not want to miss what's coming up this week here on BowlTV.com, if you know what I mean.
I would second that notion. If you haven't already subscribed, be sure to do so. Because you don't want to miss any of the qualifying. You don't miss the round of 32, the round of 12, and certainly the Step Ladder Finals. Each and every week so far, man, the Step Ladder Finals have presented, I think, everything you would want. Like, each week you're going to get something new. We talked about legends and rookies and players starting to come into their own. I think we've seen all of that throughout the first 6 events. So make sure you subscribe at BowlTV.com because not only if you do that, you can watch PWBA, but if you're interested, you can watch some of the best collegiate bowling also, which is going on concurrently right now. Well, I think they're still live, but this week, in Wyoming, Michigan, Aaron Smith and Jason Thomas handling business at the Intercollegiate Team and Singles Championships as well.
Okay, so we were talking about, before I turn things over to Chuck, we were talking about so far recapping the season on who has won the events.
Yes.
So I believe we kicked things off back at the Kickoff Classic, where we had 3 events, 3 national titles awarded. I believe it was the Bowler's Journal Classic was our first event of the season, where Shannon O'Keefe picked up where she did for the last 2 years, being the 2-year reigning player of the year. Also not in the field this week, we need to say. She's coaching the McKendree Bearcats this week as her job duties call. Now, I believe she had an option on whether or not she was going to participate. She could do either or, and she chose to be with her kids. So kudos to Shannon on that. So she won the Bowler's Journal Classic, and then we followed it up with a big win by Brianna Cote in the ITRC Classic. Got her second win on tour, Emil. And when you win a first one, it's a great accomplishment. But when you win that second title, that means you've arrived, and it wasn't a fluke. It's confirmation that you belong on tour.
And just to confirm that before you continue on, when Josie Barnes won her second title in East Hartford a few years back, she said almost the exact same thing. Obviously, the first one means a lot, but it's one of those things to where, all right, to be able to stick around, it's that second one is utterly important. I know Brianna wanted that, and had been in many situations, had opportunities, things didn't go her way, and she got it done in Arlington.
Yeah, and then we moved on to the Hall of Fame Classic, which was the combination of all events, and it was Julia Bond who broke through and won her first title. And many have compared Julia Bond to Liz Johnson with the way that she delivers the bowling ball, very simple game, straighter attack, and Julia's bowled well thus far since the Kickoff Classic. And those events took place in January. Then we moved on to Eagan, Minnesota, Twin Cities Open, where we saw a young lady who bowled sub 200 games on her 2 championship round appearances down in Arlington at the Kickoff Classic redeem herself, bowling 268 in the championship match. Dasha Kovalova, who sits at the top of the points right now here through 5 events, 1/4 of the season. She got the job done, and that was an emotional victory for Dasha. She bowled tremendous. Then, of course, last week, Kelly Kulik was your number 1 seed at the Lincoln Open. We had 2 Hall of Famers in Kulik and Liz Johnson. Liz Johnson, the 4 seed, with 2 Cornhuskers. If you didn't see the show, it's available again on YouTube, or you can check it out in the BowlTV.com archives. Liz Johnson defeats Kelly Kulik last week and bowled 300 in the semifinal match against Gigi Mason. And, of course, also the other Cornhusker making her first appearance this year in championship final, Southpaw Shannon Bohowski. at home in Lincoln. So that brings us here, Emil. It sets up our event right here. Greater Cleveland Open here at Yorktown Lanes. You and me doing it. Number 6, man. 6 title up for grabs here. Anybody, I like to make predictions. I like to throw myself out there. I haven't put you on the spot. I haven't even analyzed it myself, but any names come to mind this week with your experience broadcasting here in the past? Anybody you think is a lock to cash? Any locks?
Josie Barnes. And I didn't see her name a lot the first couple weeks, of course. And but this is a center where she's won. She's the defending champion. She knows the center, I think, very well. I think there is some level of comfort when you come back to a place that you've won before. I think that helps a lot. And so I would start there, certainly. Again, I know we're watching practice, and I know I've seen a lot of strikes, but I would take Josie certainly. If we're talking about locks, if you're doing the daily wager and you're taking locks, I'm taking Josie Barnes for sure.
Okay, Emil, my lock this week, to cash, and this is I put my life on the line on this one. Who do you think I'm going to say?
Liz Johnson.
Yes, Liz Johnson. But in addition to that, I do have 3 players that I'm going to keep my eye on here this week. That I've got my curiosity and my interest has perked up for these 3 players this week, in no particular order. And I also believe all 3 of these ladies are going to cash this week. Not locks, but I believe all 3 will cash. First of all, she hasn't been able to bowl over here in this country. She came back last week, just like we saw her good friend Verity the week before. Bowled decent, but then came back and bowled really well last week. I see Daria Payok, who did not cash last week, cashing for sure this week. I like Daria rebounding here. Her second event of the season. She's going to get things going here this week. And it wouldn't shock me, Emil, if she bowls 300 this week. So that's my first player to watch this week.
I like that. I would not be shocked either. When Daria gets locked in, man, it's fun to watch her strike. It's fun to watch strikes in general, but I just feel like she does it different. And this could be that week because I think it certainly could be set up for her to do and have that kind of success.
The next player I have my eye on this week is Rocio Restrepo. She did not bowl last week. I'm not sure why she took the week off. I will find out. But we're talking about a player who was a force to be reckoned with not too long ago. And she hasn't done much this year in these events. And I'm not, like I said, I didn't talk to her. I don't know why she took last week off, but I bet she worked at her game. And I anticipate that hard work is going to pay off. And I got Rocio cashing this week for sure.
Yeah, and I think for Ro, I think just the local aspect of it as well. I don't know the exact number of miles, but what I would call from a short drive perspective, and just kind of having that level of comfort. Obviously Ro is in battling injuries, and I think watching her on social media getting stronger every day, I think she is certainly at a point now to where she's comfortable and knows that she can be herself on the lanes.
And then this is the other curious pick here. This is the person I'm really interested to see how she bowls this week. And I've got a couple little game theories here involved. You see, it was 2 weeks ago when we were in Minnesota that JT had told me that, hey, you're going to be on the call here with Carolyn Doran-Ballard and Kelly Kulick. Well, Kelly Kulick made the show, so she couldn't be on, okay? The following week, he told me, hey, Aaron Smith's going to be on with Carolyn Doran-Ballard and Kelly Kulick. Well, Kelly Kulick made the show, so she couldn't sit in the booth. So now I'm telling you in my best JT voice that you are going to be calling the finals with Kelly Kulick and Carolyn Doran Ballard. Okay? But if a trend continues here, Kelly Kulick won't be able to make it, and neither will Carolyn Doran Ballard because she is bowling her first event of the season. And if I know CDB with a shot from the outside part of the lane, after watching the finals and having to call the finals the last couple weeks, Carolyn Doran Ballard is an interesting player to watch this week and someone I also believe is going to cash in this event, being the first event of the season for her.
I really like that pick, Mike. And, obviously Carolyn has been such an astounding analyst for quite some time, certainly on television. And I think the Bowl TV community now is getting a chance to understand and also learn from Carolyn and how she breaks down what's happening on the lanes, the players' games, etc. And I think as an analyst also, especially someone like Carolyn, she's also been probably taking a lot of mental notes as well. So when she does come out, which she is obviously bowling this week, she can take what she has probably learned and obviously practiced as well with Dell and put together a very solid performance. It's always a pleasure to just be in the vicinity with CDB, and it's even better to see her bowl and bowl well. So I'm looking forward to watching her as well. It's one of those things, Mike. We don't get a chance to see CDB every day, or every week, I should say. But when you have her, it's like you got to cherish. You got to cherish that gift, and so looking forward to seeing her. I think one of my favorite memories, my time on tour, involves Carol. And in 2016, I believe, pretty sure, she made the TV show, for the Rochester Open. And at the time, the format was a little different. We had a group of step ladders, and so essentially players were kind of divvied up via seed into, like, let's say Group A, Group B, and then basically they would bowl one another, and that would determine the final two spots for the TV show for that week. Top two seeds automatically advanced after the round, and CDB had to show up in the 10th frame to earn a spot on TV. And Mike, if you could have put me back when I was 13, watching CDB at her legendary status, and then seeing the emotion that instantly followed, it was amazing. That is one of my finest memories of being on this tour, and so we certainly hope we see that again.
Yeah, I've moved us over to that bay right now. We're going to get a chance to see how Carolyn's playing the lane. You see her there on the left side of your screen, just stepped out of screen. She'll be throwing a shot here shortly on lane 23. You see Matt McNeil down there repping this week. Just to tell everybody who the ball reps are here this week from the companies, Matt McNeil leads the ladies team, as I've been told. He's here with Jim Callahan and Sean Ryan. Over for Brunswick, you've got Chuck Gardner and Eric Krause are both here this week. And then for Motive, we got Nathan Bohr this year as well. So, and we appreciate those guys always coming in and spending time with us on our broadcast, giving us information, also willing to give me information to then give back to you, the viewers. And if you are watching on Facebook or on YouTube, this is going to be the last reminder, because we'll be going off the air here within the next 5 minutes as practice will be over, that if you want to watch competition, you want to watch this week, and you want to continue to watch the other 15 total titles, including this week we have at stake this year on the PWBA Tour, make sure you subscribe to BowlTV.com. It's a tremendous value, and Emil and I would love to be here with you all weekend long and talking some bowling with you. And we want to give a shout out to everybody that's been in the chat. I've been reading the comments in there. Thank you for all the love that you've given us and for all the knowledge that you also share with us inside the chat. I see a lot of picks in there agreeing with my three players to watch. It's going to be a fun one here, and I'm looking forward to a little bit higher scores from from what I believe is going to happen.
Yeah, no doubt, Mike. Strikes tend to bring out, I feel like, a different side of players. When a player, and I'm putting myself in this position as someone who has competed at a decent high level, not professionally, but I think anyone with some competitive juices, if you've got an opportunity to strike and your ball reaction is suggesting that you can do this and you feel like your execution is good, generally speaking, the arm swing gets a little loose because, you might have a little area to play with, and that can give you more confidence. And so imagine that times 76, which is the amount of entries that we have this week. So, it could become a very high scoring situation, or it may not. Who knows?
Here's two of my players, by the way. Here's Daria on the right lane right
Yep.
there. We're going to get a look at CDB right here. Now, I think she drifts a little right, if I remember correctly, because I don't think she's playing that far in. I think she can drift a little right. She's a little further in than I thought, and through the face. CDB, you got to get a little right of there. Move a little right. Although this is practice, I'm sure she's been all over the place. I haven't been honing in on exactly where she's been practicing, but I like her chances this week. I think she's
my bad. I would say, if you're thinking about it, this is pretty much the end of the practice session. So, at this point, maybe looking ahead to where she may have to play later in the block. And so, again, from a note-taking perspective, there's always an opportunity to learn. And, if you watch how the players kind of go about their business, you can learn a lot from them simply by watching what they do, even from the live stream perspective.
Daria bowling awesome. I also see Taylor Bailey over there, made her first cash last week. It'll be interesting to see if she can bounce back and get back-to-back cashes, trying to build some confidence in her game. Higher scoring can build confidence. But there is one other glaring stat this week to me before we wrap things up here that is interesting. 65 players the first two events, we cashed 32. 76 this week, we cashed 32. That's a little more of a discrepancy in the cash number.
Yeah, there's going to be a few players left out. And so, when the strikes are falling, hopefully the carry is good, because it could be a bit of a difficulty to get to that 30-second spot this week if the scores indeed are high. One other player to note, and John just mentioned it on Facebook, Diana Zavyalova obviously bowled well last week. She was very happy with her performance, but she has been involved in just bad luck the last couple of weeks, from not receiving her bowling balls from a luggage perspective in Minnesota. The last week, for those who saw on social media, they had her, Daria, and Verity had a hotel reservation mix-up on the hotel's end. And so they didn't have their stuff when they got back, and that was the thing. And then, unfortunately, on the way home last week, Daria and Diana on the drive home, unfortunately, then made contact with the deer on the road. And so it's been a few things from that bad juju perspective with Diana. And so, I've seen a couple people already say it, that she's not only going to make the show, but win. That would not shock me one bit, because DZ is a player who kind of thrives on that adversity, and she's experienced a little bit of that, and this certainly could be the week for her as well.
Yeah, hey, buddy, I got to give a shout out. I get text messages from different people throughout the industry and that throughout our broadcast from time to time. Some very good friends of mine who are also a sponsor of this tour. They sponsor a lot of things in bowling. We've got our sponsor reads over the course of the weekend, and we will get to this to get to this company called BowlerX.com. But I want to give a shout out to Lee Sant, who's watching today. His wife Krista is making her first appearance on the tour this year. I know she's really excited to be here, and she bowls for Motive, so that's part of Nathan Bohr's stable. And there's a lot of players that are, like we said, the further east we go now, we get more entries. It would not surprise me, and I'm not saying this just because I'm friends with Lee and Krista, but you talk about somebody who really works at her game. I know there's some other players that normally aren't out here that are participating again this week, but I can speak to Krista and her talent, and it wouldn't shock me if she cashes and if she makes a run at the top 12, especially, since she's going to have Nathan's eye so much this week. I already saw him over there working on a surface with her just recently. Saw that out of the corner of my eye. So good luck to Krista this week. And thanks to Krista and Lee and everyone at Bowler X for the job that they do with sponsoring this tour and being dedicated to the tour. We got a slew of sponsors we'll be going over this weekend, but just got a text message and wanted to touch on that.
Absolutely. And while we have a moment, let's thank, appreciate Brunswick, Roto Grip, certainly Storm, Motive, obviously, all of our sponsors, and those who are product registered as well. Of course, Kegel, mention BowlerX.com, Master, Turbo, 3G, Carol EFX, Coolwick, High Five, I Am Bowling by Logo Infusion, Indio Bowling, This Sportswear as well.
You know, Brianna Cote has been quiet the last 2 weeks as well. Kind of just get used to her being in the mix or in the top 5 at some point in the tournament. I could see that happen here. Watching her throw a few shots here in practice. You know, Taylor Bailey's an interesting one too, Emil. I know I talked about her a little bit ago, but Shannon O'Keefe is her mentor and her roommate. I know Shannon stays with Steph too, but I know that they run around together at least. Taylor Bailey and Shannon, and Shannon's not here this week. How will she respond when she has those questions? She bowled 2 pairs over next to Shannon and was over there asking her questions and talking to her last week and did cash. Will that make a difference? I believe no. I don't think it will.
Interesting tidbit right there, but from the young player, from the rookie perspective, and certainly when you're used to being able to kind of lean on that person. But I agree. I think Taylor, at this point, because she spent so much time with Shannon, is experienced enough at this point to certainly, be able to, kind of think and, from a note-taking perspective, because obviously I know Shannon takes a lot of notes, and I'm sure Taylor does that same thing. So, and another great player, obviously, in our rookie class. So when you go down this roster, Mike, I mean, you can almost every other name or every name and say, I mean, this could be the week for this player.
Oh yeah,
it could be a top 12 situation for this player. I mean that's how it is obviously every week, but with 76 and big shout out to all of those players who are non-members also. That's important as well to think about, because it takes something to put your entry in as a non-member, knowing that you're going to bowl against the best in the world. And I assume if you're going to put your entry in and you're striving, you have a goal of some kind to have some level of success at this event. So that's important as well. We appreciate the non-members and the local players, some of whom have been mentioned this week.
Man, I'm telling you, I just keep watching Daria Pio throw this bowling ball down the lane, and I can't get over how good her bowling ball is hitting, and she's stepping up for us right now. I mean, watch this, Emil. I mean, down and through the shot. I mean, those pins have no chance, and if she would have left the 7-pin or 10-pin there, she might have even got it with the messenger, and she just put her hands up in the air like Karate Kid or something, like she's going to do the leg kick. I don't know, man. This might be her tournament to lose.
We've seen Daria bowl to a point to where she kind of running away as the top seed, and it happened at the U.S. Women's Open a few years back as well, ultimately won by Liz Johnson. But I'm telling you, you've seen it. I don't need to tell you. I will tell you, though, Bowl TV community, if you have not seen Daria and you've been following her story, her and Verity, from the visa situations, and obviously they're both here now. This could be the one for Daria. I think the first 3 games will tell us a lot tomorrow night. Thanks, Steve, by the way. Coach K.
Get those for you.
My man.
My neighbor.
How about that? I needed to come on down to Utah.
Yeah, we'll bring it back here as we finish up the round. But, you know, Steve Klimpkin's such a nice guy, too, that he could be like Mr. Rogers. You know, won't you be my neighbor, right? I could see him walking in, you know, to a bowling center to give a lesson, and he walks down, and it's a beautiful day in the bowling center, a beautiful day in the bowling center. Will you be mine? Won't you be mine? Won't you be my bowler? Hi, bowlers. Coach K here. He changes shoes, get into his bowling shoes. You have to change shoes in bowling, just like Mr. Rogers. I think I'm gonna draw this parallel here, and I'm gonna talk to Steve next time I see him at Smith's or the grocery store or something. We're gonna make this happen.
And I think the real question is, what color sweater will Steve wear?
Probably teal, right, for Storm.
Okay.
I would think. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, but it could be. Actually, there'd be three colors probably. You'd have teal for Storm, and you'd have the black and the yellow for Wichita somewhere. And I mention all this because Steve specifically called you out about saying how great it is to have you back. You know, so I gotta nudge my man, Coach K. I gave him a lot of coverage at the Masters.
He earned it.
He was my amateur pick. Oh, he definitely earned it. I didn't give him a favor. It was actually kind of cheated because he's so good. I needed to have a leg up on the other guys. I got the pick first. I picked Steve.
I appreciate Steve. Hey, Terry, Troy, and everyone. Thank you. Thank you all, by the way. I appreciate all of you for the kind words, the warm welcome back. It's an honor to be back. I don't take anything for granted. So I'm as happy as I've been in a long time, certainly. And I get to share it this week with Mike, and I look forward to making some more memories. So, Mike, practice is over.
It is.
How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I think, are you prepared to take us off the air?
I'm ready to do it.
You got your paperwork there? You ready to go?
I'm ready to go. All right, good people of Earth. Michelle, I appreciate you. And again, all of you, thank you very much. Don't forget, BowlTV.com is your place, your home for all things PWBA. We will start competition. Qualifying begins at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. 10 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, Friday morning, for the first set. 6 games, of course. We'll bowl 12 tomorrow, 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. So I want to thank the United States Bowling Congress, certainly all of the members of the USBC board for all they do, the Bowling Proprietors Association of America and the BPAA board, Kegel, the official lane maintenance provider of the PWBA. Shout out to my man, Bill Walters. Good to see Bill still waxing them, as we like to say here on the PWBA Tour. PWBA members, certainly, providing exciting competition to watch. Without the players, certainly, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have anything to talk about. And it looks like it's going to be a great weekend. So we thank the players and certainly the Bowl TV community, all the fans of the PWBA around the world. This is not just a national situation, folks. And you all know that. The PWBA is very international, and we appreciate all of you. So from all of us at Bowl TV, for Mike Flanagan, my name is Emil Williams Jr. Thank you, good night, and remember, you can only find this on BowlTV.com. Bowling lives here. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.